the football Postcast in association with Paddy Power. Their new iPhone app is easier than the verdict at a Blatter hearing, so download it now.
Hello there, you're very much welcome along to the Racing Post Football Postcast. I'm Dave Clark of the Racing Post, joined by colleagues Mark Langdon, Ian Wilkinson. We've also got Sean O'Sullivan from our friends Paddy Power on the line. Sean, how's tricks?
Good, Dave. Yeah, very good. A little bit hungover today, but overall things are okay. Going pretty well.
The we could call it the EFL Cup last night for you. What do you make of that? And a quick word on the quarterfinals.
Yeah, no, it was good. I mean, Liverpool are the big movers in the betting, obviously. Yeah, they had a good win v Tottenham, playing, kind of half a team. Sturridge kind of stood up to the fore, but they got a great draw, right? They're at home to Leeds. They'll be 7s or 8s on, I'd imagine, to qualify there. So they're huge movers. They're into 9-4 favourites. Arsenal 11-4, tough to kind of back it, I guess, not knowing what team they'll play. I presume it will continue to be weakened. And United, obviously, getting the win against City completely unimpressively, but they still got through, and they're 3 to 1/3 favourites.
Lango, quick word from you on the EFL Cup.
Yeah, I think that Liverpool are definitely worthy favourites at the moment. I mean, you know they're going to take it, I would say, more seriously now they're in the quarterfinals. They are arguably, one of the best two teams in the Premier League already this season. Man City are out. There's not a great deal left for them to overly concern themselves with, what with Chelsea's exit as well. I suppose if you're looking at an outsider, maybe Newcastle. I mean, Rafa loves a cup, and if Newcastle were in the Premier League, where would they finish in the Premier League? I don't think they'd have anywhere near relegation. No, they wouldn't. You probably have them around about halfway in the Premier League. They wouldn't be that much worse than a Bournemouth or a Crystal Palace or Stoke, something like that. So maybe Newcastle could be the ones. But the problem is a two-legged semi-final always makes it difficult for the smaller teams, and the underdogs or whatever. But yeah, I think Liverpool worthy favourites. I'll give a shout out to Newcastle.
You'd probably
if you're looking for a bet on that lot on the draw with United playing West Ham, Liverpool at home to Leeds, Arsenal at home to Southampton. The draw's been very kind to the teams that are favoured in it. So I'm like Mark. I think Newcastle they'd have an excellent chance of winning at Hull. So rather than looking at them to progress further than the semi-finals, I think just have a bet on them to win it.
Very much for the Jollies. Liverpool, myself. Right, Sean, let's get stuck in. We've got plenty of action, live televised Premier League action this weekend. Saturday, 12:30, Sunderland, who are struggling, are hosting Arsenal. Had a Paddy Power price that one up.
Yeah, hopeless Sunderland at the moment. They're 13-2 at home here. Arsenal have been really kind of favoured in recent weeks, but they're starting to live up to it in fairness to them, and they're 2-5 on here to win Stadium of Light. The draw is priced at 15-4, so yeah, Arsenal massively favoured here.
They've had a few. Sorry, they've had a few wobbles.
Go on, mate.
Sorry, I'm butting in.
Go.
They have had a few wobbles though, Arsenal, haven't they? They needed a scrappy late goal to win at Burnley, and it was far from convincing when they won at home at Swansea. And then they were held to Borough last week. So it's not, it can still.
They're poor, Sunderland are poor, aren't they, Mark?
They are. I do agree with Wilco in the extent that I've not been massively convinced by Arsenal in recent weeks domestically. What was it, about 2-7 against Middlesbrough last week when they failed to get the job done? Even going back further, Southampton last-minute penalty at home there. So, they're kind of doing the ugly work at the moment, aren't they? Which is normally what people say Arsenal are not very good at, just grinding out, nicking it. But they have kept 7 clean sheets in their last 8 matches. Mustafi and Koscielny seem to have got a good thing going defensively. Cech, when he's been called upon, has made some decent saves as well. Sunderland have only scored 6 Premier League goals all season.
If you stop Defoe, you stop Sunderland.
Yeah, where are the goals going to come from outside of Jermaine Defoe? This is not a great betting heat, but if I was having a bet, it'd probably be Arsenal to win to 0. I think could be the best way to go. But I can't pretend it's an amazing punt.
6-4. That's a nice price. I like that as well. You've touched upon Defoe. I just get the impression that the more that Sunderland continue to struggle, the more he'll try and take it on his shoulders to dig them out of a hole. And for Jermaine Defoe, that means trying to shoot from impossible angles, trying to kick the ball through people so it goes in the goal. They're just going to get increasingly frustrated unless somebody else steps up and provides some sort of goal threat. So, like Mark, I think 6-4, Arsenal to win to 0's the way it go.
Well, very much about giving these managers time, but from what I've seen, Sunderland under David Moyes, they are doomed for me. Right, we'll move on to Palace Liverpool. The second Saturday game looks potentially a real humdinger, that one. Sean, you got some prices?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Liverpool are 8-11 here to win, which is, I mean, it's amazing they'd be that short considering the price they're going to go off at the first couple of games of the season. But they've been thoroughly impressive of late. Like Palace are 4-1 at home, who've also kind of improved a lot the last 3 or 4 weeks, and the draw is priced at 5-2.
See goals in this one, Wilco. What about yourself?
Yeah, I think I like Liverpool a lot. I mean, they're having more shots on target than any other team in the league, and their points. Since they lost at Burnley, the points they've dropped. They've had a draw with Spurs and a draw with United. Palace, I'm not too convinced by Palace. I mean, if you look back over the last year, they won at Anfield on November the 8th, and the teams that they've beaten in the league since then, they've beaten. Admittedly, one of their victories was against Southampton, who are a decent team, but the others have come. They've had 3 wins against Stoke. They've beaten Newcastle, Norwich, Middlesbrough and Sunderland. Now, this is plainly a massive step up in class to that sort of opposition, and I don't think they'll be able to hold out. This year's league, their 3 league wins: Borough, Stoke and Sunderland. Stoke, when they were going through a really bad patch as well, and they looked really awful. I'd fancy Liverpool to get the job done here. 8-11. If you fancy that, if that's your sort of price for a win, then I wouldn't put you off. But perhaps if you want a little bit more bang for your buck, a Liverpool half-time, full-time at 8-5. I think that's quite attractive.
They tend to start their games pretty well, Mark. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be backing them 8-11 personally. I mean, Tottenham played Bournemouth on last week and were around about evens. And I mean, how much better are Liverpool than Tottenham? How much better? I'm looking at them 2 games.
Similar levels.
They're not that dissimilar a level. I mean, last couple of seasons, the Premier League champions have won 11 away matches. Which means, of course, they've failed to win 8 of their away games, which is a fair number. And I mean, obviously, a lot of them come in the harder matches, but you tend to drop a few points away to these mid-table ones, and maybe this could be one of those occasions. I can't poo-poo anything about what Liverpool have done this season. Really, I mean, they've been excellent.
You can poo-poo whatever you like, mate. Yeah.
No, but I mean, I think they've been outstanding.
Yep.
Front 3. Been brilliant. The midfield is excellent. Defensively, not been as bad as what I expected. I don't know if 8-11 is just verging on the short side of that one. I mean, I didn't think they were very impressive when they beat Swansea away recently. They did lose to Burnley as well. And I see Sean as 8-11 from Paddy Power. I think that's the best price. So maybe he wants to lay them as well.
You trying to get them in the book, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, I think Liverpool are probably. I mean, they're by far the most likely winners, obviously. But I just think 8-11. I mean, as kind of Mark alludes to there, I think it's kind of short. I don't. It wouldn't be for me. I like the goals route. I mean, Liverpool have conceded. I mean, in their last 10 Premier League away matches, so they invariably do score quite a few as well. So overall, I think both teams to score is probably a bit of a shoe-in. I mean, it's priced prohibitively. It's 8-13. I mean, the overs route could be a way to go again, 4-6. I see goals in the game. I mean, when you look at a match like this and you're kind of humming and hawing about the match price, and invariably this tends to be kind of right. And Liverpool the most likely winners, but yeah, 8-11 is just too short. I'd be going down the goals route myself big time.
Perhaps they've got that little bit more of a cutting edge. Mark touched upon the price at Spurs were at Bournemouth last week. Perhaps they've just got that little bit more of a cutting edge than Tottenham at the moment, with Harry Kane being sidelined. Perhaps that goes to explain it a little bit more, why they're a little bit short for a game like this.
Sean, good weekend for Liverpool last weekend in terms of the title race. What price are they now?
Yeah, I mean, look, they're shorting a massive. I mean, look, that Premier League title race at the moment is getting so interesting. We're in a situation now where I think it's 5 teams at the top within a point of each other, so it's just super competitive. It's the best it's been in a long, long time. But I mean, they're just so popular with everyone. I mean, they're into 3-1 at the moment. Every year Liverpool are back invariably. They're so well supported. But this year there seems to be, I mean, you can see why they're being backed. I mean, they're looking to me like one of the best teams in the league. As Mark said earlier, I think within the top 2 there with City, definitely. City are 6-4 favourites still. We're just not laying it. Nobody's coming in for that. People have lost complete faith in Guardiola. But Liverpool's sitting there 3-1. Arsenal fairly popular as well. Again, every time they come close, looking like they're going to make a bit of a push, they tend to have a bit of a relapse. Middlesbrough kind of last week. They're 5-1. Chelsea 13-2, and the other team in that 5, Spurs, are 9-1. United out there 20-1 now.
I was just about to say about United, because they're only 6 points off, aren't they? I mean, everybody has said about what a disastrous start they've had. They're in the quarter-final of the League Cup and they're 6 points off the top, and they've got a favourable run of fixtures coming up, I noticed, starting with Burnley at home. But I think Mourinho alluded to it at the last weekend. They've got a nice run of games now. They've already been to Stamford Bridge. They've played City. It's been a tough start for them. They've been to Anfield. So maybe, if you fancy United, I think now's the time to back them. They were 3-1 at the start of the season. About that, they've drifted out to 20s, and I think that it wouldn't surprise me if they sort of got like 10 points from the next 4 matches or something like that. And,
like something has to change there at United, doesn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, the players are just too good. You'd imagine to keep playing the way it's going. I know it's been like this nearly for a couple of years. They keep bringing in these top players, and they just don't seem to be going anywhere. But eventually, I just think with Mourinho, I mean, you just kind of have to have a small bit of faith here and kind of think that it does have to turn around for the better. It can't get any worse in terms of the way they're playing. And 6 points is nothing here. I mean, there's not much in the goal difference. They get 7 or 8 goals. I mean, if they can go on a run of 5 wins, that 20s could be absolutely gigantic.
So we're thinking, if you were going to have a bet now, maybe a couple of quid on United at a big price.
Well, I mean, I think you want to be backing the ones that are out of form, because they're the ones that are drifting. So you're looking at City that were given the title a few weeks ago.
Bit of a wobble, to be fair. I think 2 goals in 5 games.
Yeah, but I mean, they're still top, and now they've drifted out to 6-4.
They were the opposite to United. They had a really nice run of fixtures.
Yeah,
they played a lot of teams who have. As the season's worn on, have struggled, and they weren't beating much. And now, there's a few doubts coming in. Perhaps they're not as, unbeatable as everybody thought they were, and they're certainly not sure.
I wouldn't want to. I don't think I'd want to lay 20s United. I mean, if you wanted to sort of bet with me, Dave, I don't think I'd be saying, "Oh yeah, I'll happily lay 20-1," because I just think it could be a really tight finish.
And they're not that detached yet.
They're not that detached, no. And I think that there's only one way for them to go, and I don't see how much further they can go backwards.
It's going to be who runs out of steam. Who keeps it going and gets to the line. That's the way that the season looks like it's going to be. There's going to be times where it looks like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we weren't really talking about Chelsea winning the league, and now all of a sudden, they're right up there in the mix. We're going to have times like this over the next few months where teams are going to drop away for a couple of weeks, and we're not going to think about much, and then they're going to turn it round a little bit, and then they're going to make recoveries. I think
we've already. Arsenal were written off after about 2 or 3 matches of the season. Then Chelsea after their disastrous times, and then when Liverpool lost at Burnley, people saying, "Oh, it's same old Liverpool." And then their flavour of the month. City started with 10 wins in all competitions. Now can't buy a win. They've all got strengths. They've all got. There's not a perfect team in there at the moment, so
you could just sit there and trade the lot, couldn't you?
I think that's probably
that's a trade price, isn't it? That 20-1.
Yeah, it wouldn't. I wouldn't be amazed if it would say half that come Christmas, maybe. Let's put it that way.
Okay, right. Let's get on to the best bets of the weekend, gents. We're from colleague Steve Palmer.
This will not be beaten.
Right, Wilco, we'll kick off with you. Best bet of the weekend.
Yeah, I'm in the Championship this week. I like Sheffield Wednesday to win at Derby. The Rams have had their problems, obviously. Nigel Pearson's been and gone this season. I can't say I'm too inspired about the appointment of Steve McLaren. They're really struggling for goals. They've only scored more than 1 goal in 1 game this season. Wednesday didn't get off to the best of starts. They took 5 points in their first 5 matches, but they've lost 1 of their last 5 on the road. That's put them up in the top 6, and obviously they got to the play final last year, and I think they can make another bold bid to try and get up. So I like them at 2-1 at Pride Park.
Lango, for you?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Huddersfield away at Fulham, possibly draw no bet in terms of the, if we're looking at best bet here, but I wouldn't mind playing draw no bet, Asian handicap and the win really on Huddersfield. Fulham have won 2 of their last 14 matches and only 1 win in their last 10. I mean, Huddersfield have lost 3 of their last 4 away matches, but 2 of those were in midweek. And the way that David Wagner sets his team up to play, I think they find it hard to back up midweek matches because they're such a high press team. They've only won 1 of their 5 midweek matches all season, actually. So I think that's maybe why they've got a bad away record, because they've been playing a lot of the quick turnaround and away from home. That 1 victory was against Rotherham, worst team in the division. So they've had a clear week. I'm expecting the full press machine from Wagner's men this weekend at Craven Cottage, and I think they've been underrated for how high up they are in the Championship table.
Okay, we've got Wednesday, Huddersfield draw no bet. What about yourself, Sean, and some prices?
Yeah, I'll complete it with a championship treble. I'm on the Cardiff boat this week. We're priced fairly prohibitively at even money, but they're at home to Wigan and they should win. I mean, Wigan just sacked their manager Caldwell. I mean, they're in a brutal run of form, and Cardiff just brought in 5 or 6 players, and it actually seems to be working. I mean, we saw a massive collapse in these prices for top 6 finish promotion. Like they were all 3-figure prices because Cardiff looked like they were in big trouble for relegation here. But the signings they brought in, basically from the guys that know, seem to be like they're really, really highly rated at the moment, and they're going off even money for this match. They should beat Wigan. Wigan look like they're in a bit of disarray, so yeah, even money for me there. I mean, Huddersfield are 5-4, draw no bet there as well for Mark.
And Wednesday, do we get a price for Sheffield
Wednesday are 2-1. So I mean, there's a nice treble there. I mean, you got 2-1 Wednesday, 19-10 Huddersfield, and even money on Cardiff. So you're getting a nice little price there, about 11 or 12-1 the treble.
I mean, should be treble or maybe a little tricksy there. Right, we'll head off for a quick break and tackle the 3 more remaining games.
Check out Paddy Power's latest football offer. For all televised Premier League matches this weekend, get a free bet if the team you backed is leading at 60 minutes but fails to win. Max £20, not available in shops. T&Cs apply. 18+. Gambleaware.co.uk.
Welcome back to the Racing Post Football Postcast. I'm Dave Clark, joined by colleagues Ian Wilkinson, Mark Langdon and Sean Sullivan on the line from our friends at Paddy Power. Sean, Everton hosting the mighty West Ham United, 1:30 on Sunday. Got some prices, and how do you see that one going, Sean?
Yeah, so we've Everton priced at odds on here. I mean, they're 3-4. The draw is 11-4, and West Ham coming off. You think a bit of a moral boosting win there v Chelsea. They're 7-2 outsiders here.
Okay, and how do you see it going?
Again, like, I mean, I think it's priced fairly correct. I really like the goals route again. I mean, again, it's 4-7 both teams to score, yes, but I don't really see past it, and it's 4-6 in the overs. I mean, West Ham, I mean, for all the kind of criticism they've got this year, they keep scoring away from home. I mean, they've carried on that form from last year. They scored every single away Premier League fixture. I think it's the last 11 or 12 Premier League games they've found the back of the net. And Everton at home again, you generally kind of associate them with goals, and the stats back that up again. I mean, I'm looking back here in the last 10 or 11 games, they've scored, I think, in 14 out of 15. So goals again would be the route I'm going down. I think I'll be back in the overs. I mean, at 4-6, I mean, both teams to score, yes, at 4-7, they both kind of appeal to me.
He's trying to inject some pace into the team. Mark, do you think West Ham a better side on the road than they are at home?
I wouldn't have necessarily thought so. I mean, obviously they've had teething problems at the London Stadium, and last year they did very well away from home. But I tend to think over time that does even itself out. But I think Everton are a little bit short. I mean, Lukaku's got a brilliant record against West Ham, if I remember correctly. But I mean, no winning 5. West Ham have only lost 1 of their last 6 matches. There's signs of recovery there from the Hammers, and I think
players coming back from injury as well.
Exactly. The AU was on the bench, wasn't he, against Chelsea? So, against Chelsea in midweek. I think that there's a better look to the midfield. He's really strengthened that up. He's more defensive minded. I know you were saying off air really that it maybe damages their creativity, but I think it gives them
home. Yeah,
it gives them a more solid base. To go with. You've got the
Cresswell's massive.
Yeah, he's
massive
back,
player,
isn't he? So, they got the 1-0 at Palace recently. They've carried that on. They are starting to tighten up defensively. The only goal they've conceded in their last few was that very late goal that.
I will add that's sort of coincided with James Collins not being in the side. So I think that's quite a big factor.
I mean, I was quite sweet on Everton at the start of the season, but I think they've gone off the boil a little bit. So I mean, I wouldn't be in a rush to back them at odds on. I have to say, I mean, I'm not mad on West Ham either, but in a game where not a lot stands out, I think I'd rather have the draw and West Ham on my side.
Wilco, same for you?
Yeah, I think your boys got a good chance here. Obviously, beating Chelsea's going to have given them a lift. I've the last few years, I've always liked West Ham. Have always been one of those teams that I've liked to oppose when they've played at home, and I've liked to get with them a bit sometimes.
What do you think about the strong side that West Ham played Wednesday night? Obviously, it's almost 3 games in a week now, putting the same 11 players out.
Well,
it's the extra day, though, isn't it? It's not Wednesday, Saturday. Wednesday, Sunday should be all right,
I think. Sean alluded to the fact that, 10 games on the trot, on the road, they've scored a goal. And this really seems a game that it's there for Bilic if they adopt a positive approach. I think 11-5 with the draw onside, draw no bet. I quite like that. I think that's a decent bet.
Okay, some love for West Ham there. But what about Lukaku to open the scoring there, Sean? As Mark rightly mentioned, I think he's got a good record against West Ham. Banged in a hat-trick once upon a time, I think. Yeah. And pricey to open the scoring. Yeah,
we love him here at Paddy Power. I mean, we generally go pretty short. And the amount of times he finds the back in net first, and we've done our conkers and kind of Monday Night Football and stuff like that, is unbelievable. So, I mean, we're 7-2 here. We're nearly bottom of the market. We're ducking him completely. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Lukaku. I mean, if you can just find that little bit more consistency, I think you can get right to the top of the game. And yeah, we're 7-2. There's a little bit bigger out there. I wouldn't ask you about elsewhere, but yeah, we're staying pretty short on that one.
Just to sort of, allude to that though. I mean, outside of Lukaku, I'm just wondering where the Everton sort of goals are going to come from. Really, I mean, Balassi, Miralles are pretty. Hot and cold.
Flashes of brilliance from Balassi, but you wouldn't
but
trust
not enough.
him to turn
the
up.
team that's been beaten by Burnley last week, I'm in no rush to back them odds on to beat West Ham.
Okay, let's move on to the second game on Sunday. Southampton hosting Chelsea. How do you, Paddy Power, price that one up, Sean?
Yeah, so I mean, it's about time I suppose to get on the old Southampton bandwagon. I mean, for 3 years, I think I've been looking at Southampton prices and going, geez, I can't believe they're that short. It's just incredible. I mean, it doesn't make any difference who's their manager, who's playing for them. They just live up to, I mean, the prices they're going off. They're 21-10 here at home to Chelsea. Chelsea are 5-4, and the draw is priced at 12-5.
It must do something right at that club, Mark, mustn't they? Because as Sean rightly mentioned, regardless of the lineup or the manager, they always turn up a decent side.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I won't bore all the listeners with all the players they've sold. I'm sure they're fully aware. But you need to go from Pochettino to Koeman to Puel. You feel like at some stage there has to be a drop. Just, but there hasn't been, and they just keep on going. I really like the fluidity they've got up front at the moment. I mean, you know, replacing Mane was a really difficult job, but they've done it well with Redmond playing a different role but doing a similar job or at the same time. I mean, Tadic is one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. He'll probably be the next one to leave. They're very strong in the centre-back positions. I like the goalkeeper. I was looking at the draw in this game. I mean, Southampton, one defeat in their last 16 home matches. That was against Chelsea, and Chelsea have done well since they switched to the back three. It wasn't a full strength team he played at West Ham on Wednesday. You know, some of the key men, Hazard, Costa.
There's only so much Kante can do.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, you know, we're going back to the proper Chelsea team, if you like. Since they moved to the back three, they've played 3 matches. They've won 3 matches by an aggregate of 9-0. I think Hazard and Pedro either side of Costa's working well. I think this will be a really interesting game. I'm not expecting many goals. Both teams look to be doing the right things defensively. I think when the goal expectation drops, the draw, rises the likelihood of a draw. So I'll go for that.
Okay, Wilco, for you?
Yeah, I think it could be. This appears to be like the game of the weekend. Really, I really like Southampton. For the reasons that we've already discussed. I think I'd quite anticipate quite an attacking game, really. I see that the overs-unders is 5-6, your choice. I think...
so you think goals?
Well, yeah, I mean, Southampton, for all that we've said about... the quality of the defences. You know, Southampton have kept 1 clean sheet in their last 10 matches at home. You'd expect Chelsea to adopt a positive attitude, and I would imagine now that Southampton in the position that they're in, they would anticipate that they can challenge and give teams have a good go at teams when they're playing there on their own patch. So I'd just veer towards the over 2.5. Actually, I think 5-6. I think that's a decent price.
Do we think that Chelsea are going to set up the same every week, Mark, now with this back three?
I think they will for the foreseeable, as long as the defenders are there to be able to play. Because it gets the best out of Hazard and Pedro, or particularly Hazard, because he has less defensive responsibilities, really, because Alonso is
playing
behind.
Almost a free role now,
isn't he? Yeah, because Alonso's already kind of like a left-back behind him. And then they've also got the left centre-back, which at the moment is Cahill, so they've got a lot of cover there. I think Kante is used to playing in a 4-man midfield. I mean, a lot of teams like to play 5 in there now, but Kante can almost do the job of 2 people. Yeah. So there's no problem there. Matic and him sort of just sitting in front. I mean, Victor Moses has been a revelation at right wing back as well. So, I mean, I tipped Chelsea at the start of the season, went off them completely a few weeks ago, but they're sort of back involved now. This will be a good test as to where they're at. I'm interested to hear Sean's views on this game, actually, because, couldn't have been an easy one to have priced up, Sean.
No, it was pretty difficult. I mean, like, it's one of those things where I think Southampton are at the stage, like, I mean, the way they kind of played, that Chelsea will go there and nearly be happy with a draw. I mean, it's amazing to think that if they went there and came out there, I don't think Conte would be overly disappointed with it. It took me, I mean, I'm a slow learner. Like, I mean, it took me years to kind of get on board with this thing with Southampton. I constantly was laying them and absolutely doing my conkers. I just couldn't keep up with it. Now, eventually, I've just come full circle. I'm the biggest hipster out there, and I absolutely love them. I mean, the angle in with Southampton, it's clear as day, it's Charlie Austin. I mean, the man's goals per min ratio is absolutely ridiculous. It's insane over the last 4 or 5 years, and it's even better for Southampton. For all the credit we can kind of give Southampton, there's not that many goals elsewhere apart from Austin in the team. There's a lot of guys that create very well, as we alluded to there with Tadic, but guys who actually get a lot of goals in the team, it's not really there, and it all kind of comes down on Austin. Again, we're pretty short on him here at 4-1, I think, first goal. But the key to Southampton at the moment is Austin. You keep Austin fit, you keep his confidence level high, and I think like a top 6 finish, that kind of stuff is right there for them this year. I mean, I'm really, really impressed with them. Chelsea have massively improved. Again, I think there was a massive overreaction to a couple of games. Conte had to find a system, he had to feel it out. Looks like he's got there. But I can't wait for this match. It should be really, really good. I think it's priced. If I was having a bet in the win market, I'm probably coming down in the draw as well. I think I see it being tight. I see it being a really, really decent game of football, an intriguing game in terms of finding out where these two teams rank against each other over the rest of the season. But yeah, it should be fascinating stuff. But I think a lot of it does hinge on Charlie Austin.
What price is no goal scorer in that game, Sean?
No goal scorer is an 8-1 shot.
Interesting. And do Paddy Power still offer the score-win double? So you give a mention to Charlie Austin, sort of any-time scorer in the Southampton win.
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, it's called the Wincast. So yeah, we have Austin to score anytime basically, and then Southampton to go and win. As I try to kind of bluff here while I'm trying to find the market extremely quickly.
But that's sort of a bet that you would sort of be interested in, sort of almost every week with Southampton.
100%. I'd imagine it'd be priced up. I think it'll probably be priced up around. I'd imagine maybe around the 7-2 mark. And I mean, it's a decent bet. I mean, if Austin gets in the score sheet, you'd really fancy Southampton to go on and get the job done.
Okay, right. We'll head for a quick break, and then we'll tackle Stoke Swansea Monday night game.
Check out Paddy Power's latest football offer. For all televised Premier League matches this weekend, get a free bet if the team you backed is leading at 60 minutes but fails to win. Max £20, not available in shops. T&Cs apply. 18+. Gambleaware.co.uk.
Welcome back to the Racing Post Weekend Football Postcast. I'm Dave Clark, joined by colleagues Ian Wilkinson, Mark Langdon and Sean O'Sullivan from our friends at Paddy Power. And Sean's going to give us some prices for Monday night's game, Stoke City versus Swansea. Yeah,
well, of course, I'm looking at a computer here spinning around, getting a blue screen of death, which is fantastic. But I do know that Stoke are priced at 90-20, so I can imagine the other two prices are more than likely around the 23-10 for the draw, and possibly around 3-1 there on the outsider. But I'll give you an absolute 100% certain show in about 30 seconds when this thing turns back on.
Look, I like Stoke. I like Boney leading the line. What do we think here?
Well, I mean, I've sat on this sofa only 2 or 3 weeks ago and suggested that we wouldn't have to listen to Mark Hughes bleating on Match of the Day after Christmas because he'd probably get the sack. But obviously, Stoke have turned it round a bit. They've got 8 points from their last 4 matches. If you look at the teams who their last 5 home defeats in their last 15 games, they've come 2 against Spurs, 1 against City, 1 against Southampton, and 1 against Everton. So the quality of the opposition that they're playing on Monday when they're playing Swansea is not of that level. Swansea have not won since the depths of August when they won at Burnley. I think they look vulnerable, even though they're playing against a team who are quite moderate themselves. And yeah, 19-20 Stoke. I think that's the way to go.
Mark, for you?
I was looking at the under 2.5 goals as maybe being the best one. Not exactly looking forward to this game, has to be said, on Monday night. But I mean, since Stoke actually decided to play with a goalkeeper this season, they've done quite well since Grant came in. I mean, Shane Given really struggled. It's fair to say. I mean, he was somebody that always relied on his agility. And once that goes, there wasn't much left really for him to do.
I mean, right. He's getting on a bit.
The performance at Crystal Palace, for instance, was one that really screams out. But since Grant came in, 4 of the 5 have been under 2.5 goals. The one that wasn't was in the League Cup when Hull scored in injury time. So he was very, very close to getting 5 out of 5 there. Interestingly, with Swansea, that 0-0 against Watford last week, after the game, Bob Bradley said he picked his defenders on their capabilities to defend against the opposition attackers. So he's really thinking deeply. This is not somebody that I think is going to just say, this is my best 11.
He's doing his homework.
He's really doing his homework, and it looks like he's sort of task number 1 is nullify the opposition and then see what we can do after that. So obviously that means keeping Arnautovic, Shaqiri quiet on the flanks, and obviously Boney, who used to play for Swansea as well. So I think he's somebody that's not necessarily going to be a proactive coach. He's going to really be kind of defensive first and see if they can put the foundations in place. So
Are you suggesting that Swansea might become a bit of a boring side?
I think it's probably the sensible thing to do because they were conceding too many goals. And even when they weren't conceding too many goals, they were conceding too many chances. I mean, against Chelsea, they conceded 2. Could have been about 7 or 8 that game. Southampton, they lost 1-0. And I remember the local journalist tweeting afterwards that it was a 1-0 massacre. So clearly he'd been watching the DVDs and they were giving up too many chances. So he kind of gone back to basics. And I think if they do that against Stoke may find it difficult to break them down. So it may be a war of attrition that game. And
another one for the no-goal scorer,
maybe. Although I wouldn't be amazed if Stoke eventually nick the win, maybe 1-0 or something like that. But the unders is the way I'm looking. Yeah.
Sean, any joy with the Paddy Power system?
We're fully operational here again.
We've got a show and we're like unders and perhaps a 1-0 as well.
Yeah, we got the unders there, the evens, the overs priced at 8-11. Stoke were 9-20. The draw was 5-2, and we're actually slightly shorter in Swansea there at 14-5. I mean, I think I think there's a huge angle here with Stoke, and it's kind of one of those you just have to wait and hope it clicks eventually. Because I've been backing Boney consistently over the last few weeks. It's going to happen. He's getting in the right places. He's starting to improve markedly. His fitness is definitely improving the last couple of weeks. Joe Allen seems to be getting all the credit at the moment for Stoke, and he's scoring a lot more regularly than Boney. I don't even know if Boney scored, to be honest, for Stoke, but it's coming. And I always go back to Boney when he was at Swansea, and I think it was an unbelievable record. It's been like 45% of Swansea's goals came from Boney when he was on the field. It was insane. Went to City, and obviously things dropped off. He didn't play. I see a lot of similarities in that Swansea team and the Stoke team currently. I think Boney will be the main man for goals. He might be off in January, but in the short term, I think he'll be the man to get goals for Stoke. He's 5-1 first. I think those prices will be disappearing in the next 2 or 3 weeks because I think we'll see him go on a decent run of form. And the moment he does, you can expect that price to be 7-2, 10-3 kind of going forward. So I get on him now. I think it's sooner rather than later he'll start to get in the score sheet. And in a game with low goal expectancy like this, you're much better off getting on the first goal mark than any time goal scorer. Because I mean, if there's hardly any goals expected, more than likely if he scores, it will be the first one. So I'd be getting on him first goal 5-1. I think it's a really decent angle in.
Okay, that about wraps it up. Thanks for your time, Sean. We'll keep a lookout for the Boney ticking time bomb. Gents, thanks for your time as well. And keep an eye out. We've got plenty of racing reviews, tipping, podcasts, and obviously next week's footy podcast as well.
The Football Postcast in association with Paddy Power, the place to bet on football in play with a huge special every weekend.